Hey guys, and welcome back to Brexit. Brexit England, Northern Ireland, and Eastern Europe. And in Brexit England, it seems we are in one of the most depressing times that I've ever known in this country. Look at what the Tories are offering us, right, for the leadership, right? Look at the state that this country is in. These people have put this country in this shitty state. Right? And these people think that they should still have the right to continue to run this country. My God, is this the best that the Tories have to offer us? That's what you have to ask yourself. I'm asking myself this every day, and it's getting more and more depressing. I haven't done a video for a couple of days because you know what? It's seriously, I'm telling you, right? Talking about this stuff, right, can seriously give you mental health problems because you look at the people around this country, right, and Am I the only one who's seeing this? you know, I suppose obviously if you're coming from a left wing point of view, right, you might be thinking to yourself as well, is anybody else seeing this shit? What's going on here? Are you serious? Right? Because right now, right, you've got these politicians talking about tax cuts, not so much Rishi's telling you as it is. Yeah, you ain't gonna get no tax cuts. In fact, I'm probably gonna increase your motherfucking taxes because how else are you gonna pay for the shit in the country? I mean, what gets me, right, is that you've got working class people, or poor people who will turn around and say to you, "Oh, I believe in a small government." Think, shut up. How the hell can you believe in a small government? Who believes in a small government? Rich people. Because you know what? They know that they have to pay more towards stuff. Because just for the simple fact that they're rich. Right? Or what do you expect to do? Take it all off of the people who live on the council estates? No. Right? So, they're going to pay their fair share anyway because, everything else, I mean, if the less money you've got, right, everything else works out more expensive for you. So where we're running at inflation like at 9 point something percent, right, for them, right, inflation for the working classes and for the poor, right, you're probably looking at more 15, 16, 17%, right, when you work out the balances, because obviously you've got to pay VAT on everything. So that's how you pay in the system anyway, because you pay VAT on everything, right? So don't just think of like your income tax, right? Just think of all of the things that you buy, right? And there's very few things that you buy that don't have VAT on them, right? And you're talking about like probably children's clothes, but when it comes down to you go and buy your child a pair of like Fila, Reebok, or Adidas, or Puma, right? Trust me, there's VAT on those, right? But if you're just buying the basic stuff, there's not going to be no VAT on them. In the same way, yeah, there's no VAT, right, on a potato, right? But once you go and chip that, right, or crisp it, then your VAT comes in once you cook it, right? So if you all your vegetables, most of your vegetables, right, and a lot of your fruits, right, would all be VAT free. Right, but then if you think to yourself, oh, you know what? I've seen the big TV that I want to buy in Tesco's where I am. Right, they're going to clout you up on the VAT on that. Right, so everyone pays it. Right, but the mere fact, right, that these people, right, are promising you tax cuts, right, when you see ambulances stacked up outside motherfucking hospitals, right, and they're saying to you, oh, we're going to cut your taxes for you, and the British people are, oh, don't. Go cut taxes, yeah. Go cut taxes, yeah. You're fucking idiots. How the fuck can they cut fucking taxes, right, when they can't even get your fucking passport to you on time? How the hell are they going to cut taxes? Right? This is the thing with this country, right? These people, because they know to themselves, you know what? You motherfuckers are some damn racist idiots. Right? So they know to themselves, you know what we're going to say to them? We'll just tell them, we're going to cut their taxes. And they're going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to cut your taxes, yeah. And you've got people in their house waiting for fucking 12 hours for an ambulance. But they're going to cut your fucking taxes. Really? Right? Do you remember in 2016 they said, oh, you know what? We're going to 5,000 new doctors. Well, they're about 1,800 doctors short. Right? Not of the 5,000, right? They've got 1,800 doctors less than they had, right? When they said they was going to put an increase in number. No wonder you can't get an appointment with your doctor, right? Because you see, what's happened in this country, yeah? People have turned Great Britain, once the greatest nation on the face of the earth, and I don't want to hear it from you Germans. Right? I don't want to hear it. Right? Once the greatest nation on the face of the earth, Great Britain. It says it in the motherfucking name. Right? And it's just taken Boris Johnson, right, just a couple of years, right, and now you can't get a fucking driver's license. But you've got all of these clowns up there telling you, we're going to cut your taxes. We're going to help you because we're going to cut your taxes. Yeah, and how you going to pay for fucking stuff? Because you know what? None of these fucking arses invest in anything. What do they invest in? They're not investing in shit. They're just like, where are you going to say? Where are you going to get the money from? Ooh, that's a difficult one, isn't it? That's what they're saying. Right? This is an absolute joke. Right? They tell you we're going to cut your taxes, and the British people, especially the English, are like, oh, this is like a really good idea. So I'm going to cut our taxes, because if they cut our taxes, then you know, when we want to go to the hospital, we're not going to be able to fucking get in there because it's going to be packed up. You're going to have to fucking wait round the fucking corner to get in there. Right? Don't bother calling the ambulance. Right? You know, old lady, you know. Do you know what? Yeah, I've been watching the debates, right? And obviously, they've, you know, Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak said, you know what? We don't want no more debates, because obviously these guys are tearing the hell out of each other, right? Because they're lying so much. There's so many lies, right? But you know, the thing is, what gets me, right, is it's not even lies. They're just telling people what they want to hear. Right, so when you just tell people what they want to hear, I mean, is that really lying? Because I mean, if the people was to say to them, listen, you want to stop that bullshit, but no, they'll just go, they'll just say to them, oh, you know what, we're good with the Rwanda plan, you know, so, you know, if you vote for us, right, it don't matter how shitty we treat you. Doesn't matter how crap we treat you, right? We're still going to be sending black and brown people to Rwanda, so everything for you is going to be absolutely brilliant. You know, these people, just a couple of weeks, how long is Boris Johnson? Let's just say Boris Johnson's gone, what? Let's just say 3 weeks ago. So 4 weeks ago, a month ago, right? All of them, right, that are up there now, right, you know, and I'm talking about before we're down, because now we're down to the last 3. So now we're talking about before we got to this point. But they was all up there telling you how Boris Johnson was brilliant. He's fantastic, right? Best Prime Minister ever. And then all of a sudden, they was asked on stage, right, will you have Boris Johnson in your cabinet? Well, I thought that Rishi was going to put. I didn't put my hands up because I thought that Rishi was going to put. And I didn't put my hands up because I thought that Liz was going. And I didn't put my hands up because I thought that Penny was. None of them, right? You know, now none of them was having it for yourself. Well, hold on a minute. Just a couple of days ago, literally, right? You was all singing his praises, telling us how brilliant he was, right? And you know, it was, all the parties and everything. None of that was his fault. Right? You know, the 200,000 people that are dead because of COVID. Right? None of that, right, is down to like the way how they've been running the government. Nothing to do with them. These guys was telling you how good Boris Johnson was, and then they was all asked a question. Right? Is Boris Johnson trustworthy? You see, it's not really a question you can just answer with like a one-word answer, is it? Really, I mean, it's not really. I mean, it's a thing. What you have to like think about it, and you just think to yourself, right? Just think of someone who you know in your life who's dishonest, and someone says to you, right, is Jack, John, Jane, or Sarah dishonest? I mean, you can just go yes or no, or you can beat around the bush, right, and say, well, you know, I mean, I was out with Sarah, and no, I mean, she did steal something, but it wasn't. It was accidental. It was, you know, she was testing some nail varnish, and while she was testing it, she put the actual bottle in her pocket for safekeeping. I say, well, is she dishonest or not? Just yes or no. I mean, that's all it would take. I mean, you know, at least Tom Tugendhat had said, you know what? Yes, he's a dishonest motherfucking cheating, lying fraud. He didn't go that far, but he said yes, he is. He's dishonest, right? But all the rest of them, and you think to yourself, well, from where we've been, and it's looking like it's going to be, right, Rishi the Stick Insect Sunak, right, and Pencil Neck Tin Lizzie Truss in the final. You know, Penny Mordant is still there, but whether or not she'll get through to the final is another thing altogether. But you would think to yourself, you know something, right, that the Tories would want to distance themselves, right, as far as they can, right, away from Boris Johnson, because this is what they're all saying. We're all saying, oh, well, he's terrible. He was a load of shitty, right? You know, they're not saying that in words, because, you know, if you pin them down in words, they're still, because they know that a lot of people still support Boris Johnson in this country. And don't ask me why. That's why I'm depressed about the whole thing, because people have seen the shit what this man has caused, and you've still got people who'll be like, oh, he alright. But you would think, right, if the Tories had just one small ounce of sense, because these are supposed to be some of the smartest people in this country, and I'm telling you, right, these people, right, are depressingly stupid. I mean, you know, you got Kevin Badnock. She said something about the environment. I'm sure I've got it here somewhere. I'll speak about that later. But she said something, and you think to yourself, oh, come on, give me a fucking break, right? But you would think, right, that all the people that they would have there, right, for me, right, would have been Kemi Badenoch, right, Tom Tugendhat, and Penny Mordant. You'd think that they would be in the last three. Those would be the people in the last three. Because, I mean, putting Liz Truss, right, and Rishi Sunak, I mean, that is a one-way ticket, right, to a Labour government. You know, that just shows you the stupidity of the actual Tories, right? But, you know, I mean, the Tories, you know, obviously they're looking like they're a real diverse force, because, you know, they've got two women and a brown guy. Do you know what I mean, you know, but obviously, you know, they're saying that Rishi Sunak is a socialist, but as I said, right, this country, right, is just so depressing. Thinking, right, of where we've come from to where we are now as a country, right. Somebody has come in and done a really bad job, right, in this country, and started to really fuck it up. And welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages sent me, and a special thanks here to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all the messages, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all the messages for definite. And we have to say, yeah, well done to Jack Whitenham, right, who won the 1500 meters in the World Championships, right? The first British man since Steve Cram back in 1983, when I was still at school. Yeah. Right. And oh my God, the Nottingham Police and Crime Commissioner. What's her name? I think her name's Caroline Henry. I think so. If she was French, her name would be Caroline Henry. Right, but I believe that's her name, Caroline Henry. Yeah? This woman, right, has been banned from driving, the Police and Crime Commissioner, right, for speeding in a 30 zone, right, 5 times. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times and she hasn't resigned yet. You say, well, what the hell? But this is all the Boris Johnson effect. I mean, you know what? Just hang on, right, with fingernails, right, until such a time, right, that they come and drag your ass out of there, right? But, you know, because obviously a lot of people are saying to this woman, well, you need to resign. Because in the space of, I think it was over a 5 month or 6 month period, right, the woman's been caught speeding 5 times. And 2 of these was on consecutive days, right? Right, and she come in, right, saying, she's obviously a Tory, coming saying, right, that she's going to clean up the roads in Nottingham. I'm sure cleaning up the roads in Nottingham, right, don't mean actual cleaning the streets, the roads, right? I'm sure it means, right, that she was coming in to make sure, yeah, that the crime, the driving crime, road crime, right, was going to be at an all-time low under her. And she's managed to put the figures up herself. She managed to help with the figures, and this woman hasn't resigned it. You think to yourself, seriously, it's just typical of where we are in this country. Because, you know, for me, right, one speeding offence should make you resign. Shouldn't, you know? Okay, all right, okay, that might be harsh, right? You know, she's speeding, get caught once, okay, 3 points. I mean, like everybody else. Right? But when you consistently do it and then you end up getting banned for it and you're the police commissioner, right, then, you know, the police, yeah, she's the police crime commissioner, so that's a voted position, right? So, you know, when you're the police and crime commissioner, right, then you, right, don't need to be out there committing criminal offences. Just, this is, you know, this country, it just goes to show you how low this country's gone. And let's just go over to America for a hot minute, right, where the police in Uvalde have been accused of systemic failures, right, in their duty, because they was caring about their own lives more than the lives of the people they were supposed to be protecting. In this case, little children who can't protect themselves against a man with an AR-15 rifle machine gun. And the police was there, and when you see the videos, you see how much police was there, and they had shields, and they had this, and they had that, and they just left those children in there to be motherfucking slaughtered. But in different news, they are taking away women's rights, so women don't have the rights over their own body, so they can have more and more children being born, so they can go to school and feel frightened at their motherfucking little wits. I'm sure they've got something backward in America. I don't know, but I think that they've got something in America just quite backward. I think that what they should be doing, and just follow me on this for a minute, right, is perhaps allowing women to determine what happens to their own bodies and banning guns. But, you know, as a Brit, that, right, would go down in the American ears like, how dare you, right? We want to tell our women what to do, right? And we also, right, want to have our guns. I don't know if I've said this before, you know, but America's in a really fucked up place. And Prince Harry has been making his thoughts known and criticizing people all over the place. Right? He was at some type of World Freedom Forum or something the other day, and he said, it must be something to do with the UN. And he was talking about how there's been an assault on our freedoms, right? And he actually cited Roe v. Wade. And people was like, how dare you? You're the 6th in line to the throne. Shut up. Keep out of it. Right, and obviously he was talking about, you know, the climate and all these type of things, because, you know, obviously, you know, with the heat that we've been having over the last couple of days, you can tell that, you know, the climate change is really hitting, and plus we've had a lot of wildfires in this country as well. You know, in fact, there was one just around the corner from me, about 7-8 miles away from where I live. Right, there was a massive wildfire, took out a load of houses and everything. So Prince Harry has been making his thoughts known to people and letting them know, right, that you know what, there's an assault on our freedoms all around the world, right, and climate change, right, is something that the world needs to really start to step up and look at from now. Camilla Parker Bowles has turned 75 last weekend gone. There's some fantastic pictures of her. But once upon a time, Camilla was one of Britain's most hated people because she was the third woman, and she was the person who was said to have destroyed the royal marriage. I mean, in Prince between Prince Charles and Lady Diana, right? There was at least 6 people involved in their marriage, right? So their marriage was never really going to go anywhere. But Camilla, right, was betrothed to Charles from when they was kids anyway. Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, right, this young 19-year-old Lady Diana Spencer just come from nowhere and just said, you know what? No. And all them times, how old was Prince Charles? He married Prince Charles. I can't remember how old he was when he married her. It must be 30. Was he 30? No, I don't know. Might be something like that. But he was quite a bit older than her. All right, but yeah. So I mean, but now she is going to be our next queen. Well, she was supposed to be queen consort, but no, she's just going to be our full-fledged queen. Right. But as I said, them two have been together from way back when anyway. Do you know what I mean? So there are more than 1 million families in this country that do not have any savings to get them through the next months. So with all of the obviously with all the new price rises that we've got coming in, and other countries obviously their fuel costs are going down all around the world in other countries and that, because remember how they're telling us, it's all pandemic and everybody's it's affecting everybody else. Yeah, this is true, right? But remember, right, the stupid vote, how you people voted to lose your own freedom of movement. Well, these are the things that are coming back now to really bite, right? I mean, if you just look at, let's take Greece, for example. The Greeks have said to their people, these new energy costs, right, we are going to absorb 80% of it. That's what the Greek government have told their people. A few years ago, Greece was in a financial crisis. Yet for all, I remember how we was looking over them and laughing and saying, we don't want to be part of the EU because we have to bail out people like Greece. Well, Greece are bailing their people out. How's that going for us? How's our government bailing us out? Are they bailing us out with anything? And it's like, we're going to give you £326 for each household. So, the lords, they get, what is it, £332 a day. And they're like, we're going to give you all £326 each, right, for your electric and gas bills. Hey. In Greece is just like, we're going to get 8%, and the French are like, oh no, you can only raise yours by 5 or 6%. Right? I've got a friend in France, right, whose bill actually went down. The bill went down. Right? For us, oh no, everything, right? Our bills are going to go up again. Right, and these people have just offered more money to they've offered the police officers, doctors, nurses, fire. Because the firemen, they got they objected. They said they didn't want the 2% what they was offered before. So I think they must be still in negotiations. But all these offers, right? And I mean, for the nurses, they're saying, nurses are going to get an extra £1,400. I said, well, that the utilities are up to £1,800, right? So that just blows out the. Well, what about the police then? The police again, it's £1,900 in the police's one. Well, okay, so they've got the utilities plus an extra 100. Remember, we haven't reached November, we haven't reached October yet because the bill's going to go up again, right? So we haven't reached there yet, right? So the bill's up again. But so the police are £1,900 for each police officer. 1,900. Okay, but £1,800, and then okay, so yeah, but they still got another 100. Yeah, okay, but then what about their food and travel costs? Their electric, their rent, about all these type of things. Their car insurance. What about all these type of things? Right? These people, right, have allowed this economy to go completely out of control. This economy is in complete freefall, right? And it doesn't matter, right, who they put in power, right? They haven't got any way. They've got no answers to get us out of any of this. I mean, this is going to take a good few sensible-headed prime ministers to get us out of this, right? And with this, when if you're looking at like Rishi Sunak, the stick insect, and pencil neck tin Lizzie Truss, if you're looking at these people, right, these are the people who have put us in this, right? So getting us out of this, right, they're not going to be able to do that, right? Rishi Sunak is virtually a billionaire, right? He doesn't understand. He doesn't understand our lives. He can't understand our lives. It's just impossible, right? He's already, he already said. It was an interview when he was done in his 20s, but he already said that he doesn't know any working class people, right? So he doesn't know any working class and poor people, right? And his parents was like, his dad's a doctor, his mum is a pharmacist, right? Now, people might say, oh well, it's not really, but believe me, right, those are people with a good money background, right? Because they're both, right, in like the higher, they're both in the higher echelons of, right, those trades. As a pharmacist, right, you're selling drugs. Right, you're selling legal drugs as a pharmacist, right? You can make bags of money in that, right? And if you're a GP, right, I've got one friend who's a GP, right? And believe me, right, he's got a surgery in Tooting, right? And believe me, right, when you see this surgery that he's got, it's probably about 5 houses big. His surgery, right? And he owns the whole building, and he's got in there, his 2 sons that are also GPs, right? So these guys, once they know what they're doing, right? It's only like your GPs that are your Caucasian GPs, right? That don't work how these Asian GPs and these black GPs work, because these Asian and black, right, when they put stuff together, right, they put a whole, right, but GPs from over here, they're just like, we're just gonna work for somebody else. Do you know what I mean? Or they just have an old rock down surgery, right? But when I tell you, right, there's major money in it, right? So don't be fooled by Rishi Sunak's circumstances here, where they say, oh well, that's just a GP and stuff. No, these are real money people, right? Because it depends on, and again, right, as I said, right, because most GPs, they're in command of between 100 and 110 £1,000 wages. Do you know what I mean? So if they could, obviously if they can set up like the massive surgeries, that's when they can pull in. That's when they can pull in so much more money, because then you'll be talking about a couple of £1 million a year that they can pull in from them surgeries, right? So that's why Rishi Sunak was head boy at Winchester. Right. But as I said, it's these same people, right, that have put us in these problems. And you've got someone like Liz Truss who thinks it's appropriate, right, to take a £500,000 jaunt, right, to Australia. Right, when her and her team could have probably done it for probably 150,000. If they just went on a regular flight, and that would have got them there quicker, because the jet that she took. Right, you have to stop, right, and fuel it. I think probably twice, because it's a jet, right? You go to Australia on a jumbo, right, and you have to stop to fuel it once, right? So you go there on a jet, right? You can imagine you have to stop and fuel it, right? More than that, right? So These are the type of people who you're talking about, people who have a flagrant disregard for when they're spending money on them, but when it comes down to spending money on you, they're like, oh no, we haven't got, we've got no money, we've got none left, right? Even though, right, they've been telling you for years now, oh, we're creating a high wage economy, right? Everybody gonna be on high wages. Really? And you know what gets me, right, is the stupidity. I think it's because the lack of education of the people of this country, right? That's why they can get away with this shit, right? Because they're just like, oh, all of your problems are those blacks. It's all those blacks and those bloody brown people. Look at them, getting everything that you deserve. Everything that you deserve, they're getting. Why are they getting it? Because they're bloody here. We get rid of a lot of them. Right? Because they know that that's the level of education these people have got in this country. Because you voted, right, so you could be the only people to do minimum wage jobs. I mean, we're in a country, right, where we have smart motorways, health and safety. A country, right, with more health and safety culture than anywhere else in the world. They say, oh well, you break down on the motorway and we'll leave you to your fucking to yourself there, right, to look out for your fucking self, because you know what, the fucking cameras won't be working. A man was just killed on Monday. That's why it's in my mind at the moment. But this is what country we're in. We're in a country where they can introduce smart motorways, right? Cars and lorries barreling down at 56 and 70 miles an hour, carrying 40 motherfucking tons, right? And they're saying, oh, don't worry, if you break down, just sort yourself out. Don't worry about it. We're in a country where they would sell off the hospital buildings and then rent them back. Sell the car parks so that you, right, your relatives in the hospital having a baby, dying of a fucking, of a virus or yellow fever, dengue fever they could have. Right? Their lung could be on the fucking floor, and you get into the fucking hospital and they're like, £2 to pot, please, mate. And make sure you come back out in like an hour and a half and fill up the machine again. That's the country that we're living in. Right? No wonder there are 1 million families in this country, right, who have no savings at all and just have nothing to get them through the next few months. 1 million families. So how much people is that in total? How much people is that you're talking? We're talking 4, 5, 6 million people, maybe even more. 1 million families, not million people, 1 million families. Right? And still, the people will be, oh yeah, I think the Tories are the best thing, for this country. A 3-year-old boy was killed by a tractor on a farm in Bury, right? Which is very. I'm sure it must have been like the farmer's child that he ran over. Do you know what I mean? Which obviously, and I think that he was on. They must have knocked him over with a tractor or whatever, and then they put him in a car and was taken to the hospital. They saw an ambulance. They stopped the ambulance, but obviously by the time it was too late, and he was dead by that time, unfortunately. There's been 2 women charged with administering themselves a drug to give themselves an abortion in this country. So they've been charged and they're going to be taken to court over it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know why they would have been. Because obviously abortion. You should have no problems getting abortions in this country. So I don't know why they would have done that in the first place. But obviously they've been charged with it. So we're going to find out what's going on with that. And I was watching these debates the other day now, right? And Kemi Badenoch, I actually did want her to win, right? Because even though she's a fucking arse, right? But you know that would have really stuck it to the fucking the hardcore racists in this country who who would who vote Tories but would never ever vote for a brown or black person. So if Rishi Sunak gets through to the final, right, whether he faces Penny Mordant or pencil neck Tin Lizzy Trust, right, he ain't gonna win, right? I say that, but there could be that something could happen. Then the next thing I know that he's winning, and then I've got a whole put egg on my face. But I owned up until obviously the next election because there's no way, right? I can't see the Tories winning the next election. I mean, unless the people in this country are just extra stupid, when you have that when you go for that bacon, you go for extra crispy. If the people in this country are just extra stupid, right? Then yeah, we could have them. But Kemi Badenoch, right? Her husband works for it's not Morgan Stanley. Her husband works for one of those banking groups. But let's just say he's a rich motherfucker named Hamish. Right? Hamish. Right? But Kemi Badenoch, right, has said that she's waited 5 months to see a dentist. Either you're a fucking masochist, yeah, or you've got some fucking point to prove. How the hell, right, are you on a politician's fucking salary, right, and your fucking husband is a fucking multi-fucking millionaire, right, and you're trying to tell us, right, that you broke a tooth, right, and so if you broke a tooth, right, then every time you open your mouth, people will go, oh, right, or it's hurting you the fuck, right, so you need to get something done with it, right, but you're telling me on your wages, right, that you're waiting 5 months so far to see a fucking dentist. Really? Just think stuff. That was pathetic. That was just stupid. Just think so. Well, really? I mean, how could you even say that? Right? Because I wouldn't, right, wait 5 months, right, to see a dentist, right, and I haven't got her money, and I wouldn't wait 5 months to see a dentist, right? Yeah, I would wait to see a dentist, right, 2 days, and that's because, right, it's on the weekend, right, and my toothache come up on the Friday, right, and I can't see my dentist till the Monday, right? And if it really did get bad, yeah, I found myself in the hospital, right, rather than, right, sitting there trying to make some type of fucking point. Oh, I'm just like you. I'm just like you. I'm just like the working class and the fucking poor who has to wait around for a fucking NHS dentist if you can motherfucking find one. Right? Already, right, the minute that teeth starts to hurt, either you're gonna go to the front door, right, with a piece of string, right, or you're gonna go to the tool shed, right, and get out the pliers, or you're gonna go and pay a dentist to deal with that shit for you. Right? Or if you're lucky enough to have an NHS dentist, right, then they can deal with that. But you know what, yeah? No fucking fool, right? Unless you just have no other options. And there are people in this country who are pulling out their own teeth because they don't have no option. But this woman has got every single option. She got more than enough money to say to the dentist, yeah, you come to my house and deal with me, yeah? Come here, right? Bring all your equipment. Bring the mobile dental surgery to my house. Right, that's the money this woman's got. Right? And she's got the cheek to stand up there and say, I've been waiting 5 months. Fuck off. Oh dear. Right, Boris Johnson has missed another Cobra meeting. Time and time again, Boris Johnson's missing Cobra meetings because Boris Johnson was off having a party on the weekend, right, in Chequers. Right, rather than attending Cobra meetings, right? Because remember, he still wanted to be the caretaker prime minister, and with the caretaker prime minister, there still comes responsibilities. You still have to be there to do shit, right? But Boris Johnson's like, nah, I don't care, right? Because you see, all this heat what's been going on in this country, yeah? Boris Johnson should really be out there, right? Explaining to people, how, what they should be doing for, not that we should have to explain to people, to, a country, right, where we have some of the finest education services, right, and the people of the country, right, don't take advantage of it because they're a bunch of stupid ass sick motherfucking racists. But that's another story, right? But Boris Johnson, right? Remember how much Cobra meetings he missed from COVID, right? And obviously, now we're having this heat wave. He should have been out there, because that's what the Cobra meeting was about. It's about the heat wave that we're going to have, or we had yesterday or the day before, right? So he should have been out there to give people some proper advice. But he couldn't because he didn't attend the Cobra meeting. So there was no one out there to give people any real advice. As the Prime Minister is supposed to be out there. Because you think of all the previous Prime Ministers, right? Even the arse David Cameron would have been out there, right, telling people, how, to shelter, to make sure they drink a lot of fluids, and to make sure, that they're not like using fucking Chinese lanterns like people was using Chinese lanterns last night, and the fire brigade had to say, are you motherfucking people stupid? I wanted to phone the fire chief and say, yes, we are in a country that is full of stupid people. Just look at the Tory debates. Just look there. Right now, you have the Tories, Liz Truss and Rishi the stick insect Sunak, who said, we don't want to debate none of this shit, because if we start debating, they have to cancel their debate, because they know to themselves, if they go up there and they debate, right, they've got to go up there and they've got to trash the government. They've got to trash everything they've just done. I don't know if you've seen the video that Labour's put out. The Labour's just put out a video of them just trashing each other on stage. Right. So there's basically, because there was all just basically just trashing the government. They're basically trashing their own records. Right. They're not even at the point yet where they're distancing themselves from it. Right, Liz Truss is telling us how effective she is in every single ministry that she's worked in. She's been effective and she's got on with the job and she's got the job done. And she'll tell you all about the trade deals and everything that she's had signed and everything. And think so. This country, is a very depressing place. It's really, really, really depressing. But anyway, that's Boris Johnson missing all this Cobra meeting and all that type of bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Penny Mordaunt has been accused of lying about her time in the military, in the Navy. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? She's just, there's so much stories coming out about Penny Mordaunt now. Obviously, there's a lot of people who is trying to stop her from becoming the PM. So they don't want no PM for PM. Right? But let me tell you, Penelope Pitstop, because that's what we'll have to call her. All right? But Penelope Pitstop, I mean, if she gets through to the last two, then she's Prime Minister. That's all she has to do is get through to the last two. But there's going to be a lot of skullduggery tonight. A lot of, because like Rishi Sunak really wants to face Liz Truss. He don't want to face Penny Mordaunt. He wants to face Liz Truss, because Penny Mordaunt can come across as, I never liked Boris Johnson, and you're not going to find anywhere out there of me like just talking up for Boris Johnson or anything like that, because I always thought he was a shitbag, right? Even though, right, when it come down to remember Penny Mordaunt, when it come down to the in the referendum, how she the things what she said about Turkey, and she's even doubled down on those. She said, oh no, it was facts, right? It meant that that Turkey would have been joining the EU. Right. And some people are saying veto. Which going, no, I came here in a Mercedes Sprinter. I hope you got it. Liz Truss was trashing her old school. Right, on stage, she's there trashing her old school in Leeds, and the school had come out and said, that's all nonsense. This is a bloody good school. Really a lot of high achievers in this school. But you know what? As I said, right, these people, they don't need to lie about none of these things. So it's pointless them lying about any of these things, because they don't need to. They just need to say stuff, right? And I think, just saying stuff and lying is two different things. So if they just say stuff, right, then people are like, it's not like nowadays people fact check stuff literally on the spot. But you got Penny Mordant lying about stuff. You got Liz Truss lying about stuff. You got Rishi Sunak, right? Who, do you know what I mean, who's lost his country just hundreds of billions of pounds. You know what I mean? So if they, as I said, if they had any sense, right, they would have had, if they really had any sense, they would have had Badenoch, Tugendhat, and Mordant. But Tory politicians, right, they are just like their voters. They're screw loose, thick, don't know how to read the room. Boris Johnson has claimed that the deep state may try to reverse Brexit. So what? We've got one of those over here now as well? Don't tell me they've got fucking a paedophile ring in a fucking pizza restaurant. Right. And next thing we know, that someone's going to go down there with a big knife, because obviously we can't have guns over here. Because in America, the person went to the pizza restaurant with a gun. But over here, so they've got to go with a big knife. Zombie, but a big knife. But I say, you know what? You go to a pizza restaurant with a big knife here. You want to watch it because in pizza restaurants, right, they're going to have all sorts of different knives and blades, right, and those long pizza things, right? So mind the chef, don't go. Mind the chef, yeah. When you run up in there, the deep state in this country, we've got the deep state. So what does that mean? This mean? Well, we've already started on the judges. How the judges are the enemy of the people. So yeah. So when they're talking about deep state, I suppose that must be the type of thing he's talking about. And Penny Mordaunt has said she will be announcing a new Brexit deal today. So what? Yeah, that's how Penny Mordaunt's going on. And trade across the Irish borders is booming due to the growth in energy. Something to do with the energy. You know what I mean? So obviously now, the Irish, but these people, they want to do something to fuck up the Irish protocol, because obviously the DUP will not be happy, right, until, right, Belfast is as fucked up as England. Anyway, guys, look, I've been on for like 46 minutes now, but I haven't done a video for a few days because, as I said, yeah, speaking about some of this shit, it's just really depressing. And when you look at the people that the Tories have to offer us, right, you just have to say, seriously, is that really the best that this island has got to offer us at the moment? People who have put us in this shit, right, or, Penelope Pitstop. Anyway, guys, this, my friends, is by any means necessary. I'm the MC John Ribs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.